Why are we on the last slide? Just a minute, guys. First slide. Okay. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome all to the event of Destination USA webinar jointly organized by ETS and Imperial Overseas. We have with us Patricia from the ETS from New Jersey, and she would be taking us through TOEFL and GRE, scenarios. We have with us Hiren Rathod, who is the business head of the US at Imperial. We have with us Ankur Rupani, who is our training head, and he would be taking us through the aspects of GRE. And I myself am basically the founder and CEO of Imperial Overseas, and taking aspects through COVID-19 and impacts. This session will last for about 35 to 40 minutes, post which it will be having question answer sessions which you can discuss with the panelists. So okay, so Patricia, ETS is not a unknown company at all. In fact, the whole world knows about it. So
right.
Take us through the details and how things are shaping up at ETS under the COVID-19.
Sure, absolutely. So as you can see, ETS has been around for over 70 years. So we've been around for quite some time. We have over 50 million tests in over 180 countries. And because of COVID-19, we've shifted our focus to do some at-home tests. And we'll talk about that in a little bit with both TOEFL and GRE. So that's what we've been doing. We jumped into action quickly to allow students, if they would like to continue their educational journey, to continue it with the TOEFL or the GRE program.
Okay. And Learning Link Foundation is your arm in India, right? Which looks after GRE and the TOEFL and everything. Okay. Hiren, would you like to take us through Imperial Overseas? I cannot hear anybody.
Sorry, my bad. My mic was off. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I was on mute. My bad. Yeah, so what I was saying was Imperial Overseas has been in operation for what, 8-10 years now, I think. We must have helped more than what, 6,000-7,000 students reaching their destinations abroad. And this is not just USA. I mean, obviously USA is our primary, as we like to say, bread and butter. But apart from US, we have helped students from countries like Canada, Germany, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. I mean, Switzerland, Netherlands, etc. So you name it, and I guess we have sent students to almost everywhere. I mean, in fact, last year for the August-September 2019 intake, we even sent a student to China.
Wow.
So unfortunately the student is in India right now. She came back for a break in January when the COVID outbreak happened in China, and she's still here taking online classes. But the thing is, yes, we have helped students reach more than 7,000-8,000 students. I don't know the exact count. Maybe Banit is good with numbers. He knows the count better than I do. But yeah, so we have helped
yeah, so last year we did about 1,400 odd, and we've been activated by various things, and we have about 30 plus counselors on board.
Yeah. And we have 5 branches across Bombay and Pune in Maharashtra. We have like 3 branches in Bombay and 2 in Pune. And overall, our counselor strength is roughly 40 to 50 counselors, junior to senior level, all levels. We have 40 to 50 counselors available with us. And unfortunately, as of now in the pandemic, half of them are working out of home, half of them are working partially out of office, partially out of home, depending on the situation. But yeah, that's how we are right now. And one good thing about our team strength is roughly, honestly speaking, around 40 to 50% of our counselors have themselves studied abroad and have come back. Like if you look at it, me and Ankur over here, we both have studied in the US and we have come back. We have another counselor, Mr. Akshay, who has done it, who studied in Germany and come back. We have Miss Sonali who has studied in Malaysia and come back. Okay, so we have Miss Sanjana who has studied in the US and come back. So we have different counselors who have studied abroad themselves and come back. So we all, like I would say they, I would like to add myself in this as well. But we all know firsthand how things go about, and that's what we are trying to impart into our students through our experience and whatever we know, that what to do and what ideally what not to do, to I mean basically how to avoid your mistakes is what is something which is very critical for all the students. So yeah, that's how we go about it. Over to you, Banet.
Thank you, Hiren. Okay, so individual introductions is there. So my name is Banit. We all, as we know, we all are engineers. We are a bunch of engineers at Imperial. So we done my engineering, then done MBA from SIBM, then worked about 6 years in HSBC, and I look after the overall functioning at Imperial and the kind of business development activities and the focused webinars, etc. We have with us Hiren, who himself is studied from Clemson. So, and he has been an education counselor for the last 10 years and been guiding and helping students. So he looks after the US bit at Imperial. We have with that Ankur Rupani. Ankur himself has trained people for GRE, SAT, GMAT, and other competitive exams, and he's been counseling students for over 5,000 students. So he's even taught in all the leading universities and summer schools in SAT, etc. So he will be discussing about GRE in general and how to crack the GRE. And we have, Patricia, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Patricia Sheffer. I'm with ETS. I've been there for 5 years. I'm on the TOEFL program, and I helped counsel international students. I've been to India 3 times through many of the countries in India, started in New Delhi and worked all the way down through the different countries. So I've been there. I know I've talked to international students, and I've worked at Peterson's for 15 years, helping colleges promote programs. So I've got quite extensive background, and I have a bachelor's degree from Rider University. So I'm happy to speak with students about the TOEFL and what ETS can do during COVID to help them through the situation.
Welcome, Pratisha. Welcome to the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we start with the questions, I would like to run a few polls to understand everybody in general, and then we would get delve deep into the session and the questions involved. So if you see the handle on the right, the poll section, can you please put in the details? The first question pops up: which year are you looking at to study? Okay, can we, guys? Why am I not getting poll section?
Banet, which poll do you want to start, Banet?
The first one. I'm not able to get the poll thing
I'll
on
do
my.
that. I'll do that. Yeah. Guys, the poll has started for all of you using laptop. You can just go on the poll section and select the answers. For people using on phone, obviously it's available directly on your screen right now.
Right.
Patricia, is it visible to you?
Yes, it is.
So if you look at the results, most of you guys are looking for the fall 2021 intake, which is the perfect time for all of you. Fall 2021 is almost a year, not exactly a year, but 10 to 11 months from now. So now is the perfect time for you guys to work on your entrance exams and your applications and everything. Over to you, Banit.
Next poll, Hiren. So we run these couple of polls which are all interconnected.
Six months down the line, people are still concerned. This is my concern actually. Yeah. So if you see, most of you, many of you are concerned. Obviously, that is there. We are not saying no for it, but very honestly speaking, this is one of the how do I say in the last month or so. This is the first time we are getting a result like this. Isn't it true, Banit? In the last 1 month.
Comparatively, yes. So obviously, the students yelling the first. So let's understand what. Let's come now delve to what COVID-19 is. Now, how does it impact higher education? So obviously, COVID-19 is unprecedented, and a lot of universities and countries have been affected by COVID-19. So many of them, universities have adjusted to the new normal, which is going virtual. University countries have locked down their borders, where they are not allowing international students. Only at the moment the US is allowing, and the UK is the other country which is allowing. The rest, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc.
European countries are allowing, UK is allowing, Ireland is allowing, Germany is allowing, Netherlands is allowing, so Sweden is allowing. In fact, some of our students have gone to these countries till date. So Europe overall is allowing, US is allowing. I mean, these are the two areas geographically which are actually allowing students to go there right now.
Correct. So that's the first thing which is there. So guys, in terms of now let's understand the return on investments or the COVID scenario for a prospective student for the batch of 2020. Now, very simply, as per IMF regulation right now, what will happen is what we are going to see a V-shaped or a U-shaped recovery. So all the students, as majority of the people are looking at fall 2021. You guys will be passing out in fall 2022, or most of you will be passing out in fall 2023. When you look at that fall 2023, the economy will be at the uptick at the present moment. That is where you guys are not going to be affected. So when we ran the poll, and most of them are 3, 4, 5, wherein a lot of you guys were actually bothered about COVID-19 impacting your education. I would say, or we as panelists and we as counselors, and we've been in the education space since a long time and have graying hairs all over because of that. So we can tell you that. Yeah, exactly. So everybody has, and I have colored my beard, but part of it. So we can tell you for sure that the universities, neither the universities nor the governments, nor are expecting this to launch much beyond maybe the January, February, or out of first half of 2020. One probably we would hopefully see the vaccine through, and when you pass out in 2023, the impact is there. In fact, with this, what is going to happen is a lot of economies in the world are running, pro-growth kind of measures, which means a lot of them are overstretching their budgets. A lot of them are actually spending very heavily on infrastructure, very heavily on maintaining the businesses. So when an economy or a country goes into a pro-growth phase and looks at extending the budgets and kind of growth, this all will lead to higher economic activity and will lead to higher jobs and will lead to more employability. So that is the one thing which all you guys need to understand. And this is not predicted by us. It is predicted by IMF. It is predicted by various other organizations globally. So all you guys out there, that's the first thing. The second thing which I want to put it across is the employability as per the university. So if you're going to the top universities globally, which we send you across the top 200 or top 500 universities globally, the employability does not change. They still have the best resources. They will have the best research infrastructure. They still have the best university, industry interaction. They do have, in terms of, the kind of stature and the kind of they can equip you with the skill sets and the knowledge required for you to get the best employability globally. So that is the second aspect. So all you guys out there, if you go and pass out from a good university, your chances of COVID-19 impacting you is going to be minimalistic. Another thing which we would want to point out in terms of COVID-19 is that it has not impacted the tech sector very heavily. In fact, Jeff Bezos, Amazon has in this lockdown has made more billions than probably he would have made the entire last 2-3 years put together. He's like some 30 or 40, even if after giving about 30 billion to his wife, but he's still the richest man in the world. Okay, and he's been by far. So that's guys, and then you have Apple becoming a $1 trillion organization. So guys, all of these tech companies, and most of our students go into STEM focused areas. That's where Imperial comes in, or you are there. So the tech jobs are not gone. They're still there, and the tech example is right now. We are all virtual, but we are still working. We kind of have these webinars in person throughout, in the halls, etc. But now we've gone virtual, and we have about 65, 70 students attending this current situation. So this is the impact which you guys have. Now, another thing. Now, in terms of return on investment, thing which I want to point out is the education loan scenario. Now, majority of you, say 60, 70, 80% of you, would be looking at the education loans as a scenario for your higher education. So you guys out there, the batch of 2021 that has not been infected. In fact, all the banks in India are giving loans. All the NBFCs are giving loans. They may not physically meet you, but they are giving you loans based on your documentation, which via email. So all you guys out there, your study. So first of all, is there are obviously 2-3 hurdles to study abroad. First is the admission intake, which Hiren will cover more in the next slide. Then obviously is your GRE, GMAT preparation, which Ankur sir will cover in his slide. And obviously then is the education loan, financing your education. So the financing bit has not changed. So in terms of education loan, let me point out that you get an unsecured loan. You get a loan without even your parental cosigner. So you have companies like Empower, Prodigy, Leap Finance, etc., giving you purely based on the admission of the university. You have NBFCs like Avance, Credila, Incred, purely giving you based on your GRE score. So if you get a 300 or 3.5, 310 plus in GRE and get a good admit into a STEM course, they'll probably give you a loan. So all of this is very important for you to understand and look at this scenario. Okay, so that was more to the COVID-19. Hiren, can you run the next poll, please? Okay. So, Ankur sir, there are about 64% of people who are getting GRE. So, what is the GRE on the TOEFL?
Yes. So that is quite interesting.
One more poll before we start.
One more poll going on. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
This is your favorite poll, Ankur sir, actually.
But today I don't know the audience is engineering or not, so I can't predict.
Good, na? Good, right?
But yeah.
So looking at the audience, we can make out.
Yeah, I think it's predictable. So over to you, Ankur sir. What is the GRE
Yes.
and TOEFL?
So guys, I think since most of you are 2021, I think all of you must be knowing कि GRE TOEFL क्या है. So I'll just quickly cover it. GRE is your aptitude test, and TOEFL is your English test. Okay, so when you're applying to US, you need both these scores. GRE out of 340 and your base score is 260. Okay, तो अगर आपका सब कुछ रॉन्ग हो गया तो भी 260 आने वाला है. ओके, एंड अगर सब कुछ राइट हो गया तो 340 आएगा. सो टिपिकली students always ask me कि GRE पे कितना आना चाहिए. So that really depends on your profile, your aptitude, everything. Typically 320 plus is good, 330 plus is very good. Okay, and it has quantitative and verbal sections. The quantitative section is always all about your basic maths till your 9-10 standard, algebra, geometry, statistics, number, properties, etc. And the verbal section has 3 components. It is sentence completion, which is like a fill in the blank, sentence equivalence, which is again like a fill in the blank, but you have to put in 2 options which are equivalent, and reading comprehension, which is a passage and you have to answer the questions. So generally, as you guys have already यहाँ पे poll से भी पता चल रहा है कि students are a little afraid of the, like, worried about the verbal part. Okay, but I would tell you guys not to ignore quant, because quant में 165 plus लाना बहुत important है. Okay, especially if you are going for an engineering program. So don't ignore quant, and obviously we have to work on the verbal as well. And TOEFL, like I said, is an English test. It has speaking, reading, writing, and listening. 4 sections. It is out of 120, and typically if you can get 100 plus, it is pretty good, and 110 plus will be very good. Okay, when do you start for your preparation, right?
When do you start your preparation for GRE and TOEFL, Ankur?
Yes. So, see, if you're planning for 2021, you should start. I'm sure many of you might have actually started, and if not, start straight away now. Because right now we are end of September, so October you have the whole month, and November if you can write the GRE. So we have a fast track batch which we have, where we help students to prepare in a month and a half. So if you start now, in a month and a half you can prepare and write the GRE. TOEFL also I would suggest a similar, that you can try and finish it off in October or November. And so that we can apply by December. The universities have varying deadlines. So sometimes some universities have January deadlines also, and you might have some more time. But ideally, if you can finish it off in November, December, it will be good. Yes.
Especially for 2021, guys, you are already, I mean, you have to start immediately, like start
immediately. Yes. And we can like have we have the fast track batch, so we can really help you to do it really fast.
Okay. Okay, the main question, Ankur, how do you get a 330 plus score? What exactly you need to focus on to get 330 plus?
Exactly. So, like I said, guys, 320 plus good score, 330 plus very good score. Percentile wise, you'll be like 95 percentile kind of score. So how do you get it? Now, like I told you, do not ignore quant. If you want 330 plus, in quant, we have to go to 167, 168, 169, 170 type of scores. Okay, because if you want 330 plus, if you get that in quant, your verbal, then you can get a 160. So if I get 170 quant, 160 verbal, you get 330. Okay, so I always tell students that is kind of your first target. Now, how do I get it? So quant is very, very conceptual, and nowadays the questions are also a lot of word problems. So we have to really be able to read fast in quant. That is the main thing. Be able to read, comprehend, analyze everything very quickly. Okay, so your mind has to be really working very, very fast. And that is what we call this test is a critical reasoning. It is a reasoning test. So your quantitative and verbal both are testing your reasoning. So the more you develop that skill, the more you are able to score. So quantitative is all about concepts. shortcuts. We need to know the shortcuts, and we need to avoid traps. So there are a lot of traps in the quantitative section. So these three things, if you are good at, then you can score a 170. Okay, so that is what our focus is in our classes. Verbal, to score 160 plus, you need vocabulary, the biggest thing. Okay, so we have to develop vocabulary, and you don't have to develop vocabulary like 5,000 words or something like that. There is some GRE specific words that we need to focus on. Okay, and there is a way of doing vocabulary. It is not just to memorize words. It is more to do with sentences, because in the exam you will not be asked words in isolation. There will always be questions which will be sentences, and you'll have to fill in them. So you have to know those words in context. Second, you have to develop the reasoning skills in verbal. What are the verbal reasoning skills? How do we, think through the question? Verbal is also like maths in terms of solving. So when we do a maths question, we solve a question and we get the answer. Same way in verbal. So these are a few things that we to develop those skills.
So now, Ankur, how does GRE impact your college admission process?
Yes, definitely, guys. It definitely affects. It is one of the important components. Okay, it is not the only. It is not the only component, but definitely an important component. So GRE score, your academics, and your all that comes into play.
They can see me.
Like you can say, GRE is one of the very important parts. It's a holistic package, like when we US. So especially for getting scholarships, competing for top college, we need a higher GRE score.
Okay. How do you prepare effectively under the lockdown? So and how are we teaching currently?
Yes. I would really invite students to take a look at our online lectures. So what happens is we have weekday lectures and weekend lectures, and you actually go through, like for example, I can tell you how we do verbal. So we do vocabulary first, which is a combination of words, images, sentences, and very class. After that, we immediately start using words and sentences. So this is how you need to prepare in isolation. So for the verbal part, that's what we do. For the quantitative part, we first focus on concepts, because like I said, concepts should be very clear. And after your concepts are clear, then we start applying to the kind of questions which come on GRE. Okay, when you practice, make sure that you practice GRE level questions, because there is a lot of material out there, but honestly, very easy material out there. When it comes to GRE, the level is very different. Okay, so you need to practice. Even or to tell you the truth, I have had some students who some students who said, it was very tough, but they were able to do it because the concept was very clear. So you need to make sure that concepts and your strategies are very much in place. So that's how you study in the lockdown. And we teach, like I said, online live lectures are going on. You can all join in, and within a month and a half, we can train you.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Hiren, before we start, can we have the next poll question, please? That's pretty predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, that is there. I mean, country selection, course selection is something which is quite normal nowadays. Pre-Mar, that is pre-COVID era, it was a bit more simple. Yeah, it was a bit more simpler for the students at that time. Yeah, I'm trying to understand where my English is. Ankur sir, you might have to help me in my grammar now. But yeah, anyway, so the point is, since March 2020, I mean, post-COVID era, things have changed drastically. And I'll be honest with you, Banata, and you are also aware of this. Even when students come to us, we try to tell them maybe this is a time when keeping a backup country as an option will make more sense. Because as these students are flying for the August-September 2021 intake, which is another 9, 10 months from now, the point is, by that time, geographically, or rather, let me put it, geopolitically, what will happen, where it will happen, we don't know, honestly speaking. So, in such cases, keeping a country as a backup option will always help. I mean, there is no harm. Okay, I agree. Most of the students who are here, like I was going through the names, and I personally know quite a few of them. And most of them are looking for US as their first choice, and obviously applying to some other country as a backup will be fine. So the first question, if I look at the slide, it says that how has COVID-19 impacted US higher education? So now the point is COVID-19 has affected everyone right now. Okay, COVID-19 has impacted everyone right now. Now, whether it is a positive impact or a negative impact, it's an individual's call. Okay, like for example, for example, if you are in an automobile company or a mobile or a TV manufacturing company, then I'm pretty much sure it's a negative impact. But if you are in a healthcare company, or maybe if you're working for something like a Netflix or an Amazon or something, obviously it is a positive impact. So for everyone, the thought process is different. I mean, they say the grass is always greener on the other side. Maybe that's what it is right now. But anyway, the thing is, COVID-19 has impacted the entire globe right now, including India and US as well. So the thing is, one thing good that happened, I'll be honest with you, is that the US Embassy did open up on 17th of August in India. And owing to that, not all of them, but we could figure out around 20% of students who had initially planned for fall 2020 did make it for the fall 2020 intake, and they did fly to the US, and they have started with the curriculum right now. Okay, so US is one of the rare countries where this has happened. Obviously, the other geographical region where this is happening is Europe. We have some of our students who have started flying to Ireland and UK right now. Come October, once the visa is done, we'll have students flying to Germany as well. We have a few students who have flown to Sweden and Netherlands as well. So these are the countries, everywhere there has been an impact. I mean, the classes are going online or the classes are going hybrid. The experiential learning in the classroom is a bit difficult. The labs are semi-functioning. Like I was just talking to some student the other day, and they were like, sir, our labs are not working right now because many of our professors who teach in the labs or who conduct the labs are a bit aged. So they are scared, and they are like, till the time vaccine doesn't come into the picture, we are not coming to the lab. So the lab might not open for the next 6 months for all we know.
Correct.
I mean, that's not a good thing for the students. And this is not just the US. Again, this is something which is there across the globe right now. I mean, even in India, if you look at it, the colleges and the schools have begun. I mean, I know your son Banit is attending online classes, wherein you and HK are taking care of his online classes. So that's how the things are right now. So I mean, that's there. And higher education, if I combine the first two questions here, higher education, the changes are, things are online, things are hybrid. Even the classes are being conducted in a very limited capacity right now. Okay, a lot of classes are being conducted purely for visa purposes. The students' visas, F1 visas, the student visas should not suffer, with the universities trying to take care of at their end, which is a good thing. I respect those universities who are trying to take care at their end. Some universities have already gone online completely for the fall intake, and some of them have already announced that even for the spring intake, they are going to go online. Many of them have announced for the spring intake, they'll be going hybrid. So yeah, that's the thing. So that's how higher education is changing. The only thing is that the lab sessions, it's a bit difficult to conduct them. Yeah, Bharat, you are asking me something?
No. So obviously there is changes in higher education. So I was going actually to the next question, which is, how do you build your profile, and what are the parameters the university see in your application process?
So here, Bane, the thing is, since we are touching base on the US, since this is for TOEFL, which is more US centric, but I'll touch base a bit on the other countries as well. US is one of the few countries who looks at a holistic profile. Okay, like for example, if you look at Canada, or if you look at Germany, they both have a very clear-cut vision. If your GPA is good, then only you apply. Otherwise, don't even bother applying. I mean, and this is something which is clearly mentioned on the website. I am not fabricating this out of my own mind or own intelligence or own brain. I mean, I don't have that much intelligence I would like to claim. But anyways, the point is, I am not claiming this. This is something which is available on the university website straight away written. If your GPA or your percentage or your marks are below so and so level, then don't bother applying is what they say. But when we go to the US, it's a holistic profile. Your GPA, your GRE, as Ankur has pointed out, your TOEFL score, or maybe IELTS score, I mean, whatever exams you are appearing for, or even GRE, GMAT, SAT, TOEFL, your internships, your projects, your extracurricular, everything is added together, and a holistic review is done, and then admit or reject is given to the students. Okay, so what happens in this case is, let's say if a student is there and unfortunately their GPA is below average or average, okay, and they know that for them getting into a dream school or a high rank school will be a bit of a difficult task. For such students, a GRE or a TOEFL, I mean a good score in GRE or TOEFL will do wonders, because somewhere or the other there will be a compensation for the GPA that they have messed up with. Or else maybe they take up some internship, they take up some online courses, they take up some certification courses. So these are some things that will help the students a lot in building up their profile. That's the main thing.
Okay. Now, very important. I think this is one common question you would have encountered innumerable in the years. How do you get maximum scholarships from universities?
So now here I would like to be very blunt and honest with all the students around here. That guys, you have to understand, okay, whenever you apply to these universities, obviously you are sending a transcript, you are sending your official GRE TOEFL scores, you are sending your SOPs, your LOR, letter of recommendations will be sent by the professor ideally, your resume and everything. Okay, guys, understand one thing, whatever you are sending is on paper. Okay, the universities, okay, they will believe you that whatever papers you have sent are authentic, is what they would like to believe you on. But the universities of late, in the past 4 or 5 years, they have been very clear that we would want to meet the student first. We would want to talk to the student first and then decide what sort of or how or why or whether to offer a scholarship or no. Okay, in such situations, I mean, for all the students, obviously, if you do get any kind of scholarship with the admit, nothing like it. I mean, that's the best thing that can happen to you. But God forbid if it doesn't happen, ideally try reaching the university early, maybe 15 or 20 days before the start of the course, so that those universities get a chance to meet you, they get a chance to talk to you, they get a chance to interview you, and on that basis, they can offer you scholarship. They can offer you RA, that is research assistantship. They can offer you TA, that is teaching assistantship. They can offer you GA, which is graduate assistantship. There is one more, which is grading assistantship. So these are different kind of scholarships that are available, obviously on the basis of your profile. But once you reach there, once you start working on projects under professors, things become simpler, and owing to that, getting scholarships become easier.
Okay. Hiren, now many of the 2020 one aspirants have that the competition for them will increase because a lot of 2020 people will come in. So how has COVID-19 impacted the admission criteria for universities, and what is going to happen?
Honestly speaking, Banet, like for example, mid-March is when the COVID actually struck the world. It struck China much earlier, but the world was impacted somewhere around 15-20 of March, including India. We had a lockdown on what, 22nd, 23rd of March, if I'm not wrong. And it's still going on. I mean, officially the lockdown has not ended. We are in unlocked versions, but yeah, officially it has not ended. But
we've been broken. We have again gone into lockdown because of COVID. So that's how it happened.
One thing, I mean, in Maharashtra, the restaurants and bars will be open from 1st of October is what they say. So I hope we both catch up in a restaurant to eat some. I mean, I would like to go, honestly speaking.
Absolutely, same here.
Even though unfortunately we both were impacted 3 weeks back, but still I would like to go and have food in a restaurant. But anyways, jokes apart, what I am trying to say here is that uh, March is when the universities started relaxing the criteria for the fall 2020 intake. They were like, we can give you admissions even without GRE if your profile is suitable. Even for the language exam, TOEFL, maybe you can give Duolingo, or maybe even without a language exam, we can give you if your transcripts say that you have done your course in English and everything. But these relaxations were limited to the fall intake. Fall 2020 intake by the universities. Okay. For spring intake, a few of them are still relaxing such type of this thing, entrance exam rules. But for fall 2021, very few schools are relaxing, but many of them are like you have to give these entrance exams. Like there are some students who have emailed the university stating that there is COVID, the dates are not available, etc. So will it do if you don't appear for a GRE or TOEFL? To which the university has replied, very curt reply that I mean the GRE and TOEFL is available from home. You can appear from home and just give us a score. So I mean this is what is happening. So there are a few universities, I'm not saying no, who are relaxing these entrance exams, but students are assuming that every university is doing it, so we don't need to give the exam. So this is something that students need to understand. Okay, and another thing is, I'm sorry, but another thing is many people are assuming that the fall 2021 might see higher competition because people who had fall 2020 admits would also want to go to fall 2021. I agree. But as you done it on last Friday, that is just 3-4 days back, we did an edu fair where we had 60 plus universities. Most of the universities were very clear in their idea that for the fall 2021 intake, we are not going to do injustice to new applicants. We are going to treat them independently, is what many universities are claiming and are officially saying that, which means there is a good chance that they might increase the number of seats so that there is no injustice done to the newer students, which is a good thing, honestly speaking. So that's how things are kind of changing, but nothing to worry about for the students who are applying right now.
Perfect. So last and final question, when is a good time to start your application, and do early applications have an advantage?
See, that's what Banin. Now, honestly speaking, if you look at it right now, the fall 2020 for fall 2020, the most 99.99% universities, their application portals will open up on 1st of October. That is 2 days from now exactly. Around about 30-35% universities, they opened up on 1st September itself. Okay, so now is the correct time to start applications. If your entrance exams are done, then please get your documents ready in the next couple of weeks' time. And I mean, there is no harm in getting done with all the applications by 1st of November if you are starting now. So ideally now is a good time to start. And it's not so much about early applications, especially for master students, Manan, because the thing is, if they complete all their applications anytime before the deadline, that is till 15 December or before Christmas, they're good to go. I mean, because universities will start moving the applications somewhere towards January. So, I mean, that would be a ideal target will be to get done with things by Christmas.
Thank you, Hiren. Hiren, we would like to run a poll first, and this is a kind of a tricky poll. We didn't put that detail on our on the slide, but we would like to understand and would want you to explain the impact of this.
I don't want to.
Okay. So
I mean,
we will be
we have a lady straight from the heartland here. Patricia,
would you like to take this question?
Which state are you in right now?
You have to unmute yourself.
You'll have to unmute yourself, Patricia. We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. You are still on mute, Patricia.
Yes.
Now we can hear you.
You can hear me now? Okay. All righty.
Sure.
So, where are you from, Patricia?
I live in Pennsylvania, but ETS is located in New Jersey.
Yes. So, Pennsylvania, if I'm not wrong, is a swing state.
Yes.
And
Hi. Hello. my doggy.
Ah.
Okay,
yeah.
So Patricia,
did you want me to answer?
yes,
Go
please.
ahead.
So Patricia, obviously, students are looking at the US elections, and many of them are kind of in the. I mean, we handle these queries inside out on a daily basis. Me, Hiren, everybody. So they are looking or weighing the option, looking at the kind of result which comes. So what is your analysis, and how will this impact studies
So
and
actually,
hiring?
the first question that comes to us is who's going to win the US election on 3rd of November?
We don't know. We don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be close. We really don't know, and it's just like COVID. We don't know how that's going to turn out. But what I would say is, you have
historically, a president has, in normal situation, gotten a second term.
Yes, sometimes. Yeah, it really depends. It's nobody knows, and I certainly don't know.
Absolutely. So we have around about a month for us to know who's actually going to win this thing.
Right. November 3rd. Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So Patricia, does it affect higher education, and how do prospective students look at whichever way the result goes?
Yes, I think I have to tell you, just like COVID, the election is going to come, the COVID's going to go, that's going to happen. I feel that students that are listening, I think they have their long-term plans, and they should continue with their long-term plans. And, do take this time that they're in lockdown and study with the TOEFL and the GRE. We have free application information on our website. So, that can happen. Let's see. Should we go to the next slide?
Yes. Before that, we would like to run the next poll, please.
Okay.
Kiran, can you run the next poll? The topic poll.
Yeah, I'll do that, Bharat. But before that, I would like to just add a couple of words for the election thing. I mean, obviously, okay, honestly speaking, if you're an Indian or if you're an international student, you would want the blue party to win, not the red party. Patricia, am I correct or am I wrong?
I'm sorry?
If you are an international student, I mean, the student would want the blue party to win in the US and not the red party.
Yes. Fingers crossed. Yes.
Yeah, but my point is, I mean, I'm being very clear in this, irrespective of what the decision comes in. Even if the current president continues, my only point is, in the last 4 years, he has not touched, or he has actually not harmed the student community as such, the international student community as such. So I don't see him doing harm in the next 4 years as well. Honestly speaking, like, this is my thought process. Since he has not done it in the last 4 years, I don't see him doing in the next 4 years as well. Because anyways, even if he wins this time, he will not be allowed to stand for elections in 2024.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
The US president is allowed max 2 terms, not more than that.
Yes.
Yeah, not more than that. So let's assume right now that even if he wins, he doesn't have any election promises to be given for the future. So I mean, I personally don't see him harming the students as such, student community as such, because he's not done it in the past 4 years, honestly speaking.
Right.
Like, this is my thought process.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So he could continue with 4 more years, or if he does not win, then Joe Biden will be in for 4 more years. So you're absolutely right. Either way, it is what it is, right?
Agreed. So now, continuing with the TOEFL part, I'll run a poll for all the students.
What are next steps to help students? Well, we've done a... I'm sorry.
Yeah, just wait. Have you appeared for TOEFL? So let's check out the people. How many of them have appeared for TOEFL as yet?
Okay.
We can forward.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we have a good majority. In fact, 86% who have not yet appeared.
Almost 86-87% have not appeared for the TOEFL yet.
Okay.
So what do you predict?
So Patricia, the first thing we would want to ask you is that, is the US government working to remove barriers for international students during the current pandemic? And what are the steps that they have taken to help the students?
Right. So I would say for the students, the entire U.S. higher education is definitely for students. They appreciate and welcome intellectual curiosity with students that international students have, hardworking attitude from the Indian students that we know, and their collaborative spirit. So our universities are really embracing international students, and they would like for them to come. And over the past, since the pandemic, I've been on many webinars and listened to many informational webinars where international counselors are online, as well as U.S. colleges. And there have been many things that we have done to help students during this pandemic. They're on their university. If they need food, they provide them food. They are there in their dormitories, their residence halls, apartments. So they've really helped them with this pandemic and help them within their university. And if they've switched online, their students can go online. International students can go online now too, even if they're their first year within the U.S. colleges. They can continue here and be online. So that's a positive step in the right direction.
Okay. So the next question, why should one take the TOEFL for studying in the US, and what are the recent changes in the TOEFL test?
Sure. So the first one is very easy. TOEFL is the most preferred and accepted test in the US. US institutions trust TOEFL, and they trust the scores of TOEFL because it's 100% academic in content, and it's an integrated skill. So you read the question and you type the answer, or you listen to the question and you speak the answer. So they're integrated skills. And the fact that it's 100% academic, it's what universities trust on their campus, and it gets students prepared. You know, if they do, we have a lot of free test preparation materials right on our website. And during lockdown, this is the best time to be doing this for GRE and TOEFL. So for all the students that haven't taken the TOEFL, I think this is prime time to really study hard. Our free test materials are out there. Take full advantage of that. So that's something. And the recent changes, we'll talk about that in the next slide. We are offering, as I forget, someone mentioned the at-home test for both GRE and the TOEFL, so you can take them at home. And what's also nice too is testing centers are now opening. So I just checked our numbers, and in India we have 110 test centers open. So you have choices, which is really great. And if you haven't taken the test, this is a really good time to start studying. When you feel comfortable, you could either take it in the test center if you cannot take it at home, or you could take it at home. So we give you choices. So that's really good. So let's see here. So we have this special home edition. So that's the same exact TOEFL as we had before. And then we have the in-home, or we have it in a testing center. So they're the two choices. And then because TOEFL is 100% academic with integrated, students are better prepared for the classroom. So that's a really good reason to take the TOEFL. And we're more precise. When you take the TOEFL, you get an exact score. You get a 90, or you get an 86, or you get a 95. You get a specific score, unlike a band. So it's really, really good. And those schools can use that specific score. They can see exactly what you can do because they get the 4 skills. They get a score on each of the 4 skills, which is really important. And I know it was mentioned earlier that we do the holistic admissions. So the admissions counselors aren't looking just at your total score. If they require, say, a 90 at some of the top schools, they want to see that you can speak in the classroom. They're going to look at your speaking score, your writing score. If it's an intensive writing class that you are taking, they're going to make sure that that writing score is where it needs to be. And for the GRE, in our score reports that the schools get, they can see a writing sample. In the TOEFL, the schools can hear a listening sample right in our system. So it's really, really a good test and a good measure of your ability.
Okay.
We have centralized scoring system, so raters don't know the test takers. We have a standardized speaking section at the computer, and raters who score the speaking responses are from around the world. So they don't take, if you have a little bit of an accent, they don't take that into consideration. They go through that because they're linguistic experts. They hear all that all the time. And the test taker will take a speaking sample, and the schools can hear that. So it's really important to study hard, do well, and use that test preparation material so that when you pay for the TOEFL, you're ready, and you're ready to take the test, and you do well. Okay?
Absolutely. So tell us through, what are the modules and how the TOEFL has changed in terms of specific changes?
Yes, that's a great question. So back in August, last year in August 2019, the TOEFL was longer. It was about 3.5 hours. And now for the students listening, they're very lucky because they get to take the TOEFL in 3 hours. So it's less stress for the student. We've looked at all of our research and run all these scores, and we can do that. We can obtain the same scores and the same high quality information that the students have with less time. So we rolled that out for the students, and now in 3 hours they can take the TOEFL. As you can see, the reading now has 10 questions each for each section. The listening now has 3 to 4 lectures instead of 4 to 6. So it's less time.
The number I always got from, this is my direct, calling number.
Every time.
Tanmay, can you Ankur, can you mute yourself, please? Yeah. Okay, please carry on.
And with the TOEFL in the testing center, there's a 10-minute break. So it's important to take your break at that time. If you're in the testing center, get more paper. And then the speaking section is now 4 tasks. And the writing section, there's no change to the writing section.
Okay. So things have become more convenient for the students, and 3 hours is a lot less stress,
Yes.
than this.
And what's important to note too is the same preparation material can be used for the shorter test because it's just less questions.
Okay. So
Sorry.
tell us something about the TOEFL, special home edition and how that is helping students, not go to the test center and overcome the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, so we rolled this out back in April, and it's going to be extended. We just got an extension through December 31st. So if you'd like to take the TOEFL at home, I will walk through what's needed for you to do that. And it's extended through December 31st, which is really great. So if you'd like to take the TOEFL at home, you really have to be prepared first, as I said. So take that preparation material first. You want to check your environment. So your environment, the test taker must be able to be alone in a room, which is really, really important during the pandemic. They have to be alone in the room. What I would say is if you have a room, put a sign on the door so no one can come in or out, because the whole test will be videotaped. So no one else can enter the room. The testing must not be in a public space like a park or anything like that. You have to sit on a regular chair. You can't be on a lounge chair or laying back because everything's being video recorded. The computer and the keyboard must be able to be on a desk or a table. So that's really important. And it must be cleared of all other items. Nothing can be on the floor or the walls. So first of all, your testing environment has to be right if you're going to test from home. And then next, you will be using your own computer. So you must have a computer that's either a desktop or a laptop, and it has to be a Windows 10, 8, or 7, or a Mac operating system. So these are the requirements for the computer. The computer must have a microphone to communicate with the proctor, because the proctor will be there for the whole time videotaping you. And it has to be either external or internal. It can't be part of a headset. So this headset I'm using right now cannot be used for the TOEFL. So that's really important to know, because Your ears must be exposed at all times. The speaker, so the proctor can hear you, must be there. And again, the headphones or wire set are not allowed. A camera must be either built into the computer or it can be a separate webcam. And the most important thing is the camera can be able to show the proctor a 360-degree view of the room, including the walls, the tabletop surface. And keep in mind, this might not work for everybody because you have to have your own room for the test taker to be in. But most importantly, before you sign up and pay for this, do the equipment check, because that's really important. If you do the equipment check and it doesn't work out, you might have to adjust your equipment. You don't need any fancy equipment, but do the equipment check first. And if the internet is lost for any reason and you're taking this test at home, students will not suffer. We will reschedule the test or decide to go to a testing center. You can do that. So we're just offering you options during COVID so that you can test and take the TOEFL or the GRE at this time.
Okay.
So it is the most preferred test in the US, and many universities, I would suggest that you go on the website if you know the universities you'd like to apply to and see what the requirements are. I would check it out, see if they are taking the special home edition. They're not always listed on the website, but because it is the same exact TOEFL with the same, everything is the same as far as the writing, the listening, the speaking, and all of that is all the same. So it's the same score scale.
We're going to lose power for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Can you let them know? And
Yeah.
we'll be right back?
Yeah, we might lose power again. So I will continue and basically choose the TOEFL or the GRE, but check websites to see if that's something that, you know, for those universities you're applying to.
Absolutely. In fact, TOEFL is accepted by, you know, all, I would say all or like 99% of US
Yes.
universities. So those looking at destination USA, TOEFL is the right option, and it is the
Absolutely.
more standardized option, and a lot of universities are well aware of the TOEFL, etc., rather than other competing English proficiency exams. Okay, guys, it's been about, we just overran a session by about 5 minutes. So we have a chat section on the left. If you would like any of our attendees, you know, to address questions, we would be very willing to answer them for the next about 10 odd minutes. So you have any questions? We see a couple of, you know, questions coming in. I guess the first one is, Hiren, that's for you. In terms, what are the chances of PhD scholarships in 2021? He's a bit busy. I guess some phone call is coming along. Oh. Okay. Patricia, would you like to take this one? This is highly. So many universities have waived GRE in USA. Is there or will be any possibility of problem at the time of visa? Okay, so guys, I'll answer that. I know GRE, or there is a misnomer that during the interview session, you have a lot of you know, questions like what is your GRE score, and sometimes you have a negative impact by yourself if you have a weaker GRE score, or if you have not given a GRE. However, the same, I would say, if the universities in the US are waiving off the GRE, then there should not be an issue on your visa because the visa officer is well aware that it is COVID-19. It is not that he is living on a different planet. He's living in the same planet Earth, and he's affected by the same COVID-19 situation, guys. So this is what we would say. So as a possibility of the problem at the time of the visa, you know, me, Hiren, Ankur sir have attended a lot of visa sessions by various, by the US consulate. And trust me, this is not what they talk about. They talk about genuineness of your case. They talk about your body language. And as a genuine or a potential student, what they say is in the visa interview, you have to prove to them, okay, rather than assuming, you have to prove to them that you are a genuine student. So that's what they talk about, and that's what they discuss. Then obviously I'll be taking over the PhD scholarships in 2021. So like there are chances of PhD scholarships in fall 2021, wherein again, now the funding itself is what you want. So what you would have to do for a PhD student, or how the process slightly differs from a master's student, is that during the time of your application, once you've applied, you reach out to the professors directly. Once you reach out to the professors directly, they are the ones who ascertain, based on your profile, based on your skills, based on various things, whether you would be able to get that scholarship or not. So obviously, in terms of the whole scenario, yes, the university budgets, and we keep talking to universities pretty often. So university budgets are curtailed, research budgets are slightly strenuous. I'm not debating the fact, but they still have it. So that the impact of technology, etc., is there available. Hiren cannot hear you. Okay, so that is.
So I think Viraj has a question about GRE. I think it's...
Yeah. Okay. So there's one question about GRE. This answer I'd like to take. Which students who have not yet given GRE focus on TOEFL only now, since GRE has waived off by so many universities?
Yeah, right. So, guys, see, like we said, it was waived for 2020, but for 2021, most universities have not waived the GRE. So, you might want to check where you are applying and make sure that whether it is waived or not, because most of the universities for fall 21 have not waived the GRE. So, I would suggest that you prepare and keep your options open, because for 21, mostly the universities will ask for the GRE.
Okay. Then there is a question about, what is the current job scenario in the US? Okay, guys, we discussed this, that there are obviously job scenario is affected due to COVID-19. I'm not debating the fact. However, what happens is most of you are STEM students or technology-oriented students, and there is less impact. So people in the hospitality sector, like Hiren sir explained in his slide, that hospitality sector, airline sector is most affected. But if you're in the healthcare sector, if you're in the technology sector, you are less affected. And obviously in the healthcare, you are advantageously affected. So that's the current scenario of jobs in the US. But however, structurally, let me tell you that US as a destination is going to be where you will find an opportunity for STEM-oriented courses, and even for degree courses or MBA courses. So do not worry about that. Predicting job scenario is not what you should look at, like we specified in the webinar. All of you guys should look at your employability and skills, and I personally believe that if you have the right skill set and the employability in terms of getting the right kind of education or the right kind of skill set and knowledge, you would definitely be 100% be employable. Then do we have any questions for the TOEFL? Or okay, so we have one question which is, how many universities are providing the on-campus MS course, and how difficult is it to get the visa for the same? So Ankur sir, would you like, Hiren sir, would you like to take that? Even somewhere its connection is intermittent. Ankur sir, would you like to take that? Cannot hear.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. I think there is some connection issue, but anyways, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, guys. So, like I said, see, guys, mostly for fall 21, it is going to be live, like means mostly we are predicting that the classes will be on and it will not be online. So for that there's going to be no question of this. But if you're looking at spring, maybe there might be a few online lectures, and in that case there's no visa issue at all, because that is the thing that the university is offering. So there's no problem with the visa as far as that is concerned.
Okay. I guess okay. In terms of there is a question in terms of how do you select the course, and how do you select the course is biggest challenge, and how do you handle it? So, Patricia, would you like to look at would you look at prospective students, and in your years of experience at Pearson's, how do students select what is best suited for them?
Okay, sure. Well, I would say students will know their strengths. They look at their assessments and what they enjoy, some of their strengths. If they're either very high level math, like my son was he loved math from the beginning. So, he might study something with a high level math degree. He would do well with the GRE as far as the math part of it goes. And then he would focus on what he likes. I mean, you have to see what you like, what works for you, what your interests are, where, if you're interested in international trade or business, something like that. I would say, look for institutions that have that. There's specific engineering schools that engineering students thrive on in engineering schools. So there's lots of different options. And the U.S. has a wealth. We have over 4,000 institutions in the U.S. with all kinds. We have liberal arts, which I know Indian students aren't much interested in, but I know the high-level engineering schools and business schools are what usually interests Indian students most. So we have a wealth of information here in the U.S. with number of schools and what they offer. I would say go on their website, because that's really how you can tell what they're offering, and explore your skill set and what you're really good at.
Okay. I guess, Ankur sir, we have a question. Actually, Viraj, that's a very dicey question before I ask Ankur sir. And so Viraj has asked that if the university is not, expecting a GRE, and if we have got a decent score, is it worth retaking the GRE? Now, the concept of decent is what Viraj you would want to understand. So, Ankur, can you throw some light on that?
How
do you go?
It is a very relative word over there, because it will really depend on where you are applying. Now, looking at, let's say you're applying right at the top, then you'll need like a 330 plus, right? So where you are applying becomes a very important to know whether the score that you've got is good enough for that university or not. So I guess we need to have, and also see your other part of your profile also. So all those like Hiren sir already said, it's a holistic application. So
Right.
GRE is one component, your ACADS is one component, your SOP is one component. So in that framework, what is decent we have to see, like can't be answered.
Fair enough. Acha, Hiren sir, we have one question. We have a couple of questions coming in for you. So the first one is, could you please update on the latest proposal regarding the years of stay for students?
Okay, so here the thing is that there is no change as such. What is happening is, generally when the student visa is being granted to the students, it has been granted for 5 years. Okay, that has been happening since many years now. What the proposal says that they want to issue visas only for the duration of the course that is going on, maybe 2 years or maybe 4 years. So the thing is, they are planning to give visas for 4 years now, but they have made a condition that in the future extension can be applied for after 4 years. Like for example, now also students who go for STEM courses, they get a 1-year OPT followed by a 2-year extension of OPT. So these students, they apply for an extension of the OPT in the future after the 1 year. Similarly, even for the F1 visa, if you need, like if the visa is issued for 4 years right now, they can get a 1 more year of visa extension as well. So that is easily possible.
Okay. So we have a question on. So we have one question which is quite, I would say is at the moment where the COVID is heading quite unpredictable, but I'll still ask it. So how will the universities conduct classes in fall 21? Will it be on campus or hybrid, Hiren?
We are assuming that by fall 21 we might see a vaccine and the classes might be on campus. But on if I have to talk very practically and realistically, we would see a hybrid model for fall 21.
Fair enough. We had a question on education loan as well. So education loan is given out. I'll take that question. So education loan is given to various students or aspirants in the US. You can look at coming in and helping yourself, and independently reach out to us through a portal called Edu Loans, which is like the biggest portal for helping all aspirants. So that's where it is. Guys, you overshot the time. We have a lot of, I think at least about 4 or 5 questions, but we would prefer to take them offline. You can reach out to us at our various centers. So we are located in 5 locations, that is Santa Cruz, Borivali, Thane, and in Pune we are in Kothurud and Hinjewadi. So you can reach out to us, but we kind of cater to all places across the country. Thank you, Patricia, for joining in.
Welcome.
And guiding the students on TOEFL, on the home edition, and what they should look at from the TOEFL and how they should go about preparing for the TOEFL bit.
Right. You're welcome. And if students have questions, you can email TOEFL, so TOEFL at ets.org. All those, we have a whole test taking whole department that handles test taker questions for students interested in taking the TOEFL. So reach out by email to TOEFL@ets.org, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And thank you for allowing me to come. It was great to meet everybody, and I hope we helped the Indian students through this. And if you need anything, let us know.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you guys for being a patient audience. Thank you, Hiren sir. Thank you, Ankur sir, for showing lights on various. So a lot of students here who have not given GRE yet, so they should reach out. Guys, we have demo sessions every week. I think the next demo session here, Ankur sir, is tomorrow, right?
Yes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. or Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m.
Perfect. And all of you guys who are looking at applications and moving ahead with that, reach out to Hiren sir and our entire branches across, and they will immediately guide you and help you get your best or dream admits.
Absolutely, we can do that, guys. Don't worry. Just contact any of our officers, and we are there to help you out.
There you go.
Thank you, guys, and hope this hour and 15 minutes all was valuable, and you get insights into Destination USA. That was our the theme of the entire presentation, and throw light on it. Thank you, and thank you, presenters. See you after the COVID-19.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.